The Brahmas are heading back to the Final Four.
We got a slow clap you into this episode of Inside the Bullpen. Congratulations, you guys have made it 60 episodes strong, making us still banter our same old baloney every 2 weeks, 1 month, 1 week, 4 days, whatever we feel like, I guess. That's kind of how it goes here in Brahma land. But
there's no rhyme or reason to it, Nick, but there is a rhyme or reason to this. As the show is now, at least the next 30 episodes, are sponsored by Sport Clips. Do you need a man break? If your hair is looking shaggy, if you look a bit like a homeless person, no offense to homeless people, I shouldn't insult someone right during a new sponsor's read, get your butt over to Sport Clips. With over 30 Metroplex locations, I just threw that number out. We should come a little bit more prepared with copy, but that's the way the bullpen rolls. Sport Clips. Get a man break today.
Sporty.
All right,
I think we...
yeah, we'll work on that. Megan, note.
For men.
We need, but you could get your hair cut there, too.
Yeah, you're right. It could be any kind of break.
Do you like sports? You like sports,
I do
Megan.
like sports. I guess I could take a break.
Sport Clips.
Sport Clips.
Sport Clips.
Get your hair clipped today.
Clipped.
It's like you're a dog or something.
All right.
Okay.
So
good start. Good start, everyone.
Good start. Wheels off. But we do have some breaking news here inside the bullpen. Breaking news. And now, with a... Stop that. Breaking news. With a breaking news. Here's Nick Marek. Nick, you've got some news for us.
I guess I do. We sound like a train wreck to start this one, so let's just keep it on going.
Setting the tone.
It's so good.
There's no better way to be.
We're in fine form today, everyone.
I do. We have some breaking news. Sadly, this is going to be my last week in good old Brahma land. I just ended up accepting a job with the Portland Winterhawks in the Western Hockey League, so love junior hockey so much, had to stick with it. And it's a move I'm really excited for with the wife, Amanda. But obviously this is kind of a bittersweet podcast for us. It'll be one of our last. Not the last. We got one more coming up here soon before we get out of here. But obviously we just wanted to kind of break the news to the fans. And I wanted to express how much I've loved being a part of the Brahmas family and being with Chad and Megan on this podcast for Lord knows how long. Well, Chad since the beginning. Megan maybe picked up somewhere in the 20s.
Somewhere in the 20s.
Somewhere around there.
Probably
so
around there, yeah.
I'm the OG.
It's been a fun run. It's been an unbelievable run. And I guess that's the breaking news to kind of set the tone for this podcast.
Yeah, and if we were to have a Brahmas Bullpen Hall of Fame, you'd be a first ballot.
Woo! Where's my jersey and get retired?
Yeah,
can my mic get retired? The mic can get retired.
Well, we need those mics, though. That's
yeah,
the
we
problem.
We don't have the mics to spare.
No, we don't have the mics to spare.
Nick, every good book has an end. Every movie has an end. All good things come to an end. And 4 years with one team in this league, in the broadcaster, that's pretty rare. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't think of very many people who've been with a team that long. It's the natural progression is to move up, not just the players moving up to D1 college and then NHL or whatever. It's much the same for the staffers, especially in the media department. And so it's only natural that you're going to move on. It just it's coming on a little quick.
Well, DJP, good old Dennis Puska, and Arch Ecker were two of the ones that have been around for quite a while when I started up here. And
that's true.
Obviously, Dennis still rocking his thing in Amarillo.
Mm-hmm.
Arch now up in Wenatchee. So he looked at me and said, "See you, Nick." No, just kidding. He had to get out of the league because he knew I was coming back. You're right. I mean, obviously, it's been an unbelievable journey. When we were talking about this week and we knew this podcast was coming, I was even thinking back to the first couple of days when we got things started and how it all worked out to come here to Lone Star, and it was quite the story. The viewers who don't, or I guess rather the listeners, since they can't really see us, they can only hear us right now. For the listeners, it was funny because the quick backstory was I emailed Chad about just trying to get into the junior hockey somewhere, just being like, "Here's my resume, my stuff. I want to work for you. Pay me a penny, and I'm there." And Chad was like, "You were one of the nicest responses I got back too."
Shocking.
And it was hilarious. You were just like, "Oh, hey, thanks for reaching out. Like, sorry, we had somebody fill at the time." I'm like, dang, no problem. On with trying to research some other options. And about a week later, I ended up emailing you back because I saw like some news broke or something on some jobs.com thing, and I was like, "Hey, I thought you said there wasn't a job open," type of thing. I was thinking that, and then here we are.
Yes, we. So
I really beat you with a hammer until you said yes.
To go back before you, when the Brahmas were founded in '97, there was a rate back in the early days. There's 3 eras of Brahmas hockey: downtown era, the pro era here at NYTEX, and now the North American Hockey League era.
Yep.
The downtown era, we had a broadcaster intermittently. In fact, Rich Phillips, who's the voice of Texas Motor Speedway, at one point was the broadcaster. I want to say WBAP or something like that.
I did not know that one.
Yes, that is a true story. But we really didn't have a broadcaster until the 13-14 season, and then we had a cat in here that called some games. Cliff Foster called some games for us, and then it just didn't work out to bring him in full time for the 14-15 season. So yeah, I reached back out to you. And I think it was maybe Work in Sports or Teamwork Online or one of those sports sites. And I put a very horrible job description like Brahmas hockey needs broadcaster, must know broadcasting, contact chat. Something like really bad like that, right? And we got didn't like your roommate or somebody? No, not roommate, but somebody that you knew from Arizona State.
Yeah.
Had been in the mix.
Yeah, he was. Good old Richie Flores. I know. I saw. I was reaching out with him, and he said he was applying for it as well. And I was like, "Oh, good deal," because I literally just emailed him, and so we were kind of talking about it too. And guess it was pretty funny. Sorry, Richie, but thank you, Richie.
Yeah.
Here we are today because of you too. So you kind of helped with the whole process and everything. And obviously Brahmaland's unreal here. The family's tremendous. I've been trying to make a couple rounds. I know I still have another week or so, but it's something else. It's something else for sure.
Well, when we hired you, I remember I looked through 50, 60, 70, I don't know, resumes, audio reels. It got to be annoying where I'm like, okay, here's another guy who has obviously no enthusiasm or personality whatsoever trying to call hockey. Or here's a guy who needs a Valium. he's too much. And you were good. I remember your reel. You did a lot of news with the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism there at Arizona State. So I saw
repping the shirt today.
Yeah. For those of you who Nick is head to toe ASU.
I am. Had to match.
Shout out to Connor Stewart, I guess.
I know.
Send me a jersey. You had that news background. You did video editing. you had all of the things that we did not have. So, and it's funny, that first job offer that we put to you, I think it was like 20 hours part-time. Have you ever worked only 20 hours in a week?
No, that's true. Well, but I get it. You know, like, you don't understand when you're just starting out of college. You know, Megan, I'm sure in the same situation there.
Yeah.
Because you think every team makes $1 million or whatever, and everybody's operating at a plus, and you come in, you're like, oh, I'm going to make X amount. You know, you're going to be hourly or like a startup job, but you're thinking like, yeah, there's going to be work to be had. Everybody has to have work.
Yeah.
It was a sponsorship thing, which shout out to Megan now. She's doing it.
Cheers.
And I feel like everybody's had a part in that, which has been fun, too.
Definitely.
Well, it's good because sponsors are a big part of the family. You don't really realize that until you come into a place like junior hockey and you actually work for an organization that's around it. But, I mean, why am I going to say no to that? It's one of those, you open the crack and I'll shove my foot in there until you break my toes off to get me out.
Open, yeah. You just have to squeeze your way in, honestly.
And Amanda, too, she worked here.
Yes.
She also graduating with Arizona State. You were not even engaged?
No,
right?
No, just dating.
Yeah, we're just...
God bless her for coming at the time.
God bless her, and she took on the role of box office manager for your first year. And within the first couple weeks of you being here, did we do a promo video, Dollar Hot Dog Night?
We did. Shout out to Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi when they were big back then.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like, even off of that, like, this move might not have even been possible if it wasn't for you being like, we have a box office position open. I know Amanda always thinks about this and appreciates that. Sorry, this isn't scripted, but just for Chad, like...
By the way, it's never scripted.
And it's never scripted, true.
But especially today.
We love Chad. The Marek family loves Chad.
Thank you.
They love
Marek
the Brahmas family. They love the Trezera family. They love everything about this organization. And to open not only me to bring in for 20 hours, you're like, well, we got another box office thing we can throw you at, too. And even today, Amanda and I were talking about it a couple days ago, but she was saying, like, yeah, you know what? I honestly, like, love my time working at the box office. And Megan can attest to this because she literally said that.
We were literally like in his apartment packing, and she was kind of talking. She was like, no, like, I honestly like miss like a lot of it. Like, I miss like working with the people. I miss being able to like, a lot of the stuff, like, especially on game nights, is like putting out fires, you know? And she was like, I really enjoyed like being able to like help and actively fix things and like feeling like I had like made like a difference for someone and kind of things like that.
Yeah,
like we were literally just talking about that
type thing.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work, and we do spend a lot of time with each other. I mean, if you think about it, we're like 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day together.
Yeah, especially
on game days.
Game days,
100%.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shout out to Amanda for taking that box office gig. It's high stress.
She would come back to it in a heartbeat, though. Trust me.
Anybody who's ever done it will tell you it's high stress. And but like, let's take a quick look, Megan and Nick, at Nick's career, shall we?
Oh boy.
We don't have a video board or
we
sound
have
effects.
We don't have anything ready.
We're really terrible on this show.
We're so sorry.
All right,
we're
so
like
Nick,
this.
when you started, I think our social media, as far as the summer of 2014, I think we might have had maybe 700, 800 likes on Facebook. Maybe.
Yeah,
you remember that?
I think it was a little higher than that.
Was
but
it?
It was
Not
it was
much.
Low. It was low, but it was a new team.
Where are we today, Megan?
We're like over 4,000.
Yeah. I think it's like over 4,500 even.
Yeah,
it's like
we've
close
definitely
to
been
5.
growing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a huge, in 4 years, it's definitely trending up. But we didn't have any Twitter, did we?
No, we did, but it was not low on the totem pole, but it wasn't like super well kept up because it was like Twitter was kind of a new thing about 4 years ago. Like, it was big 4 years ago, but like it just got big 4 years ago.
Yeah, it had just started to be
Lee
like
Rafferty, who was doing the AV stuff with us, he was managing those accounts, and he was like me. He's not a Twittiot.
I like that.
That's us.
I've never. It's more of a younger generation thing, and I think Lee and I were both more old men who just rolled with Facebook.
Yeah.
But we definitely didn't have any Instagram.
No. That's true.
And you know, obviously, a lot of the other things that you brought to the table were post-game highlights. For the first year, you like that week after whatever our first game was, we see on Facebook this 5-minute clip. You know, here's the game condensed to 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. That's something new. And then, infographics. I think that kind of came on. Was that first year? Maybe it was second year.
Okay, so the funny part was this is where when you're mentioning Lee, I could throw this one back to Lee for a little bit. Even though maybe he wasn't the twittiot that you call it. I kind of had that, and I was like, we need to grow this. This is something that we need to do. And literally, God bless Lee to this day. I owe him for it. He literally like self-taught me Photoshop and what to look at. Mm-hmm. And of course, I wanted to learn. So like I tried to put in the hours, but we went back at home, and Amanda's always like, spend time with me. Why are you on Photoshop all the time and like mess around with things? And I'm like, because I have to. Like I want to do it. I want it to get better. I want to figure this out. And Lee was telling me everything. Like, you got to learn clipping masks. It's a beautiful thing, and you have to do this and that. And I mean, soon enough, we started building it. And even Megan and I always laughed today, too, because I would have not known Photoshop without Lee, so that's the main story. But it's really funny going back to that 14-15 season and being like, wow, I remember when I actually thought that was good. Now you look at it and you're like, Jesus, Nick, what are you doing?
Well, even like my first year, like, I like went to Lee and I was like, you have to teach me some things in Illustrator. Like, I don't know anything about it. And he literally like took a day, like we came in early on a game day and we spent like 3 or 4 hours and he just like ran me through the basics and I'm like a lot better with like the stuff I need to know now.
Flattening.
Yeah, exactly. Like the simple stuff like you should know, but like you don't until you like kind of like see it. Yeah.
Lee would always say he's an adult who gets to color and draw pictures all day.
Yes.
That was like his phrase.
That was his thing.
Shout out to Lee for doing all that. And I would always say in your first year, you kept adding a lot that I was worried, like you keep adding so much to your list of crap you do on a game day or post-game day that eventually it's going to be like you're carrying around this giant bag on your back that you have to get all these things done.
Sure.
And that was really elevated the next year when we brought in Walt Ruff.
Yes.
And you guys start winning Wednesday, First Goal Friday.
Yep.
And it's like, I kept saying, Nick, man, you got too much, just nonstop things going on. Fans love it. We love it. I think it's great. Pre-game reports.
Yep.
Think about all the places you've done a pre-game report from. The lobby, the owner's suite, the locker room, the beach in Corpus Christi.
That was a good one.
Center Ice. I mean, we're at Zuroma. You've done them from just about everywhere.
Yep. I think a couple other barns, too. Minnesota for the showcase. Those are always fun. No, but I mean, the media side's like that's the most fun part about any position with the team, because you're the one that gets to connect with the fans, and the fans always know you, and they'll stop you all the time, but it's over like some random things with the like ticket things or something wrong with the seat, or they double booked it, and we're like, then you have to be the problem solver. But then me and Megan are always like, hey, when are you putting up the article on this person? And we're like, oh. So we have like the less stress kind of connection there. Everybody's trying to put their 2 cents in and help us, and they they'll tell us what they like, what they don't like. So in terms of like too much on the plate, I mean, me, Megan, even Walt, we were like, let's just experiment and see if they like it. If they don't like it, then we'll can it, and hopefully they don't think it's too much of it.
Yeah, it's like that's the fun part, right? The stuff that you're talking about, like all like the extra pregame stuff, the extra postgame stuff, like the winning Wednesdays, the fan interaction. Like Nick says, that's like what we want to do this for, right? Like we're here to kind of tell you the story of the team, right? And like that's what we really enjoy doing. And there's always other stuff to do, like there's like other things to like do for the rink and things like that, but like that's the stuff we do, and we get it done, kind of just finish it up, get it off the plate, and then we get to like focus on the things that we would like to create. And I think like a lot of work goes in it.
Sure.
Yeah, I hope like
it's an
you
art
guys
form.
know. Yeah, I hope you guys like know how hard Nick works. Like literally, like we're both really bad at like going to sleep when we're supposed to. So we like crawl into work at 11 a.m. Thank you, Chad, for not firing us for that. But like we'll literally be up at like 3 a.m. and I'll get a text from Nick and he'll be like, "Watch this. What do you think?" And I'll be like, Okay. And then I have to wait 2 minutes for the video to send. And then I'm like hitting play and it's like literally like 2:30 a.m. I'm like, oh, looks great. How about this part? Like, can we do this? And then like 10 minutes later, I'll get the same video, but with the change. And like, how about this? So like the creation process is constant. It's not just when we're here. Like literally like Nick goes home and works on more video. Like Nick goes home and works on more audio highlights, more clips. Like it's not a 9 to 5, or like I think you guys know that. Because
I know it from cutting audio. Cutting audio.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that. 100%. It takes a long time.
By the way, shout out for your intro. I didn't get that was Chad's intro. He literally went in the archives to find those.
And because of some idiot cutting the internet line to NYTEX and this grid here in North Richland Hills yesterday, I was able to do that.
That's true.
It all works out,
But
right?
it does. It takes. I've done a ton of audio editing, and it's forever. And you'll listen to it, and you'll find one little thing that you don't like that no one would ever notice.
Yep.
And you're like, damn it, I got to go back in there and do it.
Just because you have the ear for it and you heard it.
Right. And it's no different with video. And yes, it's very much an art form and very much long. And especially, how many times would you bitch about the internet speed? What city is it that has the terrible internet in the hotel? Is it Odessa?
Topeka.
Oh, yeah, Topeka's pretty – oh, well, Topeka during the rink, for whatever reason, would not agree with me, and that was so frustrating. Same with the broadcast. Their cabling thing, I started to believe it was my equipment, and honestly, maybe it still is. But there were every once in a while, I get like some little glitching things on the audio, and they're like, what's that crackling sound? It's really bad today. And I'm like, oh, no, here we go. And I'm like looking at the clock, and it's like 10 minutes to puck drop, and I'm like, all right, got to meet with their producer and figure this out. But it's always tough on the road because you can't trust hotel Wi-Fi. Any businessman or woman who travels knows that.
True.
But imagine trying to upload even a 3 gigabyte video or a large graphic. It takes that much longer. So you're sitting there, and I would literally have to. Some nights on the road would be my routine. Megan was here when she was here. Walt, when he was here, we would be in the hotel room, and I'd be like, "All right, we're in Corpus Christi. Got to get on hockey TV and download the game." So I would plug in my computer and download the game, knowing that it would take at least 6 or 7 hours to download. So when I would wake up in the morning, sometimes it would still be in the final hour or so. Other times it'd be done, or it would say failed, and that was always the worst. So usually when you didn't see any highlights, it was because the internet failed, and there wasn't really like a file share thing back then. So internet, you got to have reliable internet.
This is true. This is true. And same here with our broadcast. I mean, how many times have we?
Oh my!
Oh, it's happened.
Yeah,
it's just a part of the nature, you know.
And I have to say, we do appreciate when you guys reach out to us on Twitter or Facebook and kind of tell us, give us a heads up something's wrong.
Yes.
Because it's hard for us to know because we're not listening to the broadcast.
Right.
I have it up on my laptop, but I can't hear it. I have it muted. So we never know if there's audio issues until someone tells us.
Right.
Until someone drops in the DMs and is like, hey, we don't hear Nick. And then I'm like, shit, I'll go try and fix that. And then I don't know if you've ever seen how Nick and I sit, but we sit on the inside of the press row, and people sit in our row. So then I have to climb over people, and it's the best during play because Nick is talking. Obviously, he's talking. I can hear him in my ear, and I'm like, this isn't even getting to the feed. So I'm clambering over people and crawling under things and struggling out just for them to be like, we have to wait till intermission. And then I'm like, okay, screw it.
I know.
Then I sit on the steps and wait.
Well, because you get all the Twitter messages, obviously, since you're most active on that with game nights. And then I'll get some fans who listen. Sometimes they'll text me, and I do the signature, calling the play like we just heard, and then I'm physically passing my phone to Megan so she could, read it. Or, Hockey TV's calling me, and I'm like, oh, boy, this can't be good because we're in the middle of the first period. Answer the phone, throw it right in Megan's ear. So God bless.
When I get a phone shoved in my face, that's a bad sign.
It's a really bad sign.
It's a bad, something's gone wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of like, in the world of music when you're playing on stage and something isn't working and the sound engineer's waving at you, you have to keep playing
but you're
keep it going because at any second it's going to pop back on. And
we were talking about this with your bitch earlier. And that one, were you in Abilene when you had the mics, crowd mics set in the back? You're like, this is going to be dope. And then middle of the set, you realize people found it, started messing with it, and they were hitting the crowd night or throwing beer at it or something. What was that one?
Several places that happened. One in particular was in San Angelo.
Oh, San Angelo.
So shout out to Al Rooney, San Angelo.
Yes.
Former San Angelo hockey legend. So we were in the Steel Penny Pub, this band that I was in San Angelo, and there was a gentleman who had had quite a bit of some sort of liquor. Pretty sure it was running pretty thick in his veins. And he took the crowd mic that we had to record. We'd always record our show from the soundboard and then from the back, just so you can kind of listen back, like coaches have video.
Right.
He had pulled the microphone down and started just going, exit light. And it's we're listening to it in the van as we're traveling, to Austin, which is the next date or wherever it was. And we're like, is he trying to sing Enter Sandman by Metallica? Like, why? Why? And then you just, as a band, you see that happening on stage, and you're certainly not going to put your instrument down and go, "Hey,
stop, sir.
Stop it, buddy. We'll take your request." Yeah, you just kind of have to fight through it. And
you're
as a
like,
broadcaster,
loud and clear.
I know it's super hard for you when it's not only is it loud in the building, and you've got chaos in the media booth. You look over your shoulder and you can see like wires flying in the room as Patrick or whoever is trying to read it. But you still have to be like, Johnson to Trezera on the far side, and you gotta keep it going. So,
no, well, that's where I guess this will kind of segue to us for why it'll still be in good hands when I'm gone. From that broadcast that you just mentioned, big shout out to literally from the beginning with Lee Rafferty and Kason Bryden and Ben Wilmarth for the kind of being the big three when I came here from the production side of the actual hockey TV feed. Then that went to like Dustin Walton and Patrick Beals and the current guys Jacob Samsel, Nathan Delaney, Dustin Copening, Rachel Speaker, all of those people. Gosh, I hope I'm not missing anybody now. But everybody involved in the production side of things was just took that responsibility over and really put it to heart. And if it wasn't for having good people behind to help you with those wires flying and figuring it out, because you might have somebody who's just like, all right, we're gonna. And
those are thankless people, by the way. Like
100%. Nobody knows them.
Yeah,
they don't know them. They'll walk in a Brahmas T-shirt, or they'll be dressed up slightly or whatever, and nobody really knows.
Yeah, I mean,
a few people will, or how many times they'll be like on the production room door, and then they have to open it and be like, "Hey," and they're like, "Where's section Q?"
Yeah. They're like pointing.
That's happened numerous times, and we figured out we've like left like a arena map there, just be like, just help them out.
Yeah.
And obviously they don't mind, but they're like so shocked. They're like, "Who's this? Like, am I in trouble?"
No, and you've worked with several schools, in interning. You were an intern, Megan.
I was an intern. I know.
Bringing an intern on is, from the media side, is always kind of not really dicey, but it's
a little dicey.
Well, but you're educating on top of
right. It's a tryout period, kind of.
Yeah, because you have to teach them. They're not here just to hold a cable on a sideline or whatever, right? Like they have to. You have to give them some responsibilities and some room to grow and encouragement. And Megan has grown. Look, she's intern to part-time to full-time to
double full-time.
All of her, to triple full-time this year. Walt Ruff he has grown by leaps and bounds. We took a risk on a Philly fresh kid.
No, from Temple.
That was awesome, though.
I know he's going to listen to this podcast. How funny was it, too, when you showed me his resume, and you're like, "Nick, check him out. Is he good?" And I looked, and I'm like, "Yeah, definitely like has good criteria. Like, this is useful." And then you're like, "All right." And then we were like, "Wait, it says Temple University." And then we looked at his address, and he's like, "Pennsylvania." And your first words to me, I think, were like, "Does this guy realize we're in Texas?" And you and I both laughed, and we're like, "Well, let's call him and ask."
Listen, speaking of Walt Ruff, let's get him on the line here, Nick. It was a big surprise for Nick. Hang on one sec.
Hey, Nick, it's your buddy Walt Ruff out here in Tucson. I know we've chatted a million times about it already, but I just wanted to, again, wish you all the best in your jump to Portland. It's truly very well-deserved, and the amount of good things that you have brought to both the Brahmas and the NYTEX over the past few years are almost endless. I know I wouldn't be where I am without you today, and I owe you so much for that. We're all very proud of you and can be happier for you.
There you go.
Oh, Walty. Thanks, buddy, for sending that. Thanks, Chad, for reaching out to him, too, and getting that bit. Man, like, honestly, I've been spoiled. Like, people, when you're saying, like, it's a tough job for me, I'm, like, the opposite. I'm, like, I couldn't be happier being in this position, like, to be able to meet everybody here, having to work alongside Walt, work alongside Megan. I really texted her today, and since Megan will be out of town, I'm like, last coffee run.
This is our last day in the office together. Like, I know. We're really shaken up about it.
I really sat in the 151 line, and I was, like, tearing up, thinking about, like, dang, like, I had Walt come through, now I had Megan come through, and like we had a good media. We've had a fun media group and communication side, and working with the three of us on like social media.
Literally, Chad is the best boss in the world. Like, you don't get better. Like, we've peaked too early. No one is gonna be like as good. Like, the rest of our lives, we're gonna be like, damn, they're not as cool as Chad, though. Like, they're not going to walk into our office and go, what up, fuckers? Kind of like, we won't get that again, you know?
So good. And then Megan gets sassy later.
I know. I know.
Well, listen, we
explicit.
we all try to
Sorry,
have a good
kids.
time. We have a good time. And yeah,
This
you're
is
right.
not E for everyone.
Not E for everyone.
You never know. Well, I think Walt has probably told you some stories about it's not the same environment. We try to keep it fun where you can get work done in a comfortable environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you'll be able to wear what you're wearing
No
today.
No way. Not,
Nick
not
looks
in
like
the
he's
summer.
about to go knock out some reps in a gym.
Yeah, he's about to go play some pickup.
Pick up basketball.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. We're going for it.
Yeah,
We're going
let's
for it.
But I mean, yeah, like there are, and in the past, the Brahmas have been very stuffy work environment. You know, you just kind of got to work through it and deal with it. It'll be a big shock, probably.
Oh, yeah.
But you know,
yeah.
you'll adjust. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
No, we'll figure it out. I know we'll figure it out. Meg and I were already talking to it, like little things like, yeah, be expecting those 2 a.m. text messages to be coming through. I guess hopefully it's not 2 a.m. for me because that's going to be 4 a.m.
Yeah,
God bless you.
maybe, yeah.
If you respond from my Pacific time.
I was up at 4 a.m.
Something's
I
wrong.
literally texted them like this morning at 4 a.m. and I was like, "Are y'all still awake?" I'm still awake, and Amanda's like, "Yeah, we're up," and I was like, "Good, we're rolling in late again tomorrow."
That's funny.
Finish as we started.
I send
millennials.
emails super late or super early in the morning.
Yes.
What'd you say the other day? Like, Chad, were you really up at 4:45
Yes,
in
yeah.
the morning doing work? I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I was. That's
See, that's the funny
Parent
part
life.
because we're on the side, so like we've been up and like with you and Corinne, sometimes, especially Corinne when
Yes,
she was
Corinne.
here, she would wake up at like 4 a.m. for runs. We'd text her like when we're making game programs and we send
a
her a message,
24-hour
like,
operation.
We're still here at the rink, and she's like, "Shut up! Wait, what?"
That's when I was like hourly, so I had literally worked like 23 hours that day. Like, actually, she was like, because Nick was like, "You should just text her and let her know we're still here." And so we texted her, and he was like,
Timestamped
hey,
and
yeah,
everything?
we were like, Meg and I are still here. Like, I was like, "Yep."
I'm like, "Well, make sure they know you're putting hours in."
yeah.
You know what though? Like, that was like one of the first things I like really did with Nick.
That's true.
The
with
game
our
program
game
was like
program
our
design.
like first my first year. So that was like the Robbie Cup season, the
Yep.
beginning of the Robbie Cup season. And like Nick was like, yeah, like we're just gonna have to get this done. Like we'll just set aside a time. And what happens is like we always mean to get it done ahead of time, but there's like little projects that just like happen, and people are like, oh, can we get this like later today, or can we get this tomorrow, and stuff
Right.
like that. So you like end up just pushing your thing back and back and back because you're like, oh, it'll be fine. We'll just like put in a little extra time. We'll be fine. And literally, it's like 5 a.m. Like my parents were like, "Are you like alive?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm at work." And like we're so tired. Like that was like really the first time I had like really talked to Nick. I think
Games
we
in
didn't
like
really know each
16
other.
hours. No, not really.
Not really then, yeah.
Yeah, games in like 16 hours away, and we're texting Chad like when we're leaving, like it's on the printer, we'll be good. Like I'm going back to sleep. Grab them and throw them in the store. We're good.
We weren't even done. You had to finish one of the pages. You were like, "I'm gonna come in at like 10 and finish," and I was like,
that's
"God
right.
bless you."
That's right.
And then again, talk about doing things above and beyond the game program. In the past, we just did one at the beginning of the year, send it to the printer.
Yep.
Not here internally. And so what if by November half the guys are not here and the articles are stale?
You're like, "Oh, we got it out there."
You guys keep putting pertinent articles in. I mean, articles on players and on the other teams and on the road travel schedule. And
Yep.
there's a lot that goes into the game program. It's an actual program, which you should buy this year in the store.
$5.
Might not be as no, it'll be good.
Nice
Megan won't
plug.
let it
No, it'll
won't
be
let
really
it
good.
slide.
It'll be good.
You won't let it slide.
Yeah, that thing is like my baby.
Yeah.
So.
Megan liked that. Well, that was one of the things that you and I pulled with Megan right away when she
Yeah.
interned. There's her backstory. We were like, yearbook, game program.
There you
Yes,
go.
She can lay out yearbook. She can lay out a game program
And
with
she
us.
did. She's done a great job with it.
Our first emails to each other were incredibly formal and funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that's
I
always
literally
the best.
looked at my
Mr.
first
Seward.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Seward. Hope you're having a good day. Like I know we talked earlier this week. I was just following up. It's so stuffy and formal.
And we go, but but you never, you don't want to be disrespectful.
No,
number one.
well, yeah, you have to err on the side of like formal.
Number
yeah.
two, those are way better when you get the case of knock knock. What's up, fuckers?
We've said the F word twice. Now it's rated R.
All right.
It's cool. I think our fans know by now.
Yeah,
they,
I mean, look,
they
it's
know.
hockey.
They know
Apologize
what they're
to Portland.
getting.
I'll clean it up if they're listening.
No, well, listen. Okay, so if there is anybody from Portland listening, you're getting a good broadcaster, great broadcaster, the best in the league, hands down. I can't think of anybody better. A great video editor, piece producer. Is that the right term?
Sure.
Piece
Why
producer.
not? Why not?
Pieces.
No.
Yeah. A good team player, always good at doing player interviews, shooting B-roll. I mean,
He's a one-man show.
pretty much. It's like a. You don't remember? You remember Al Franken before he was a senator? When he was on Saturday Night Live?
I don't.
No.
He did this bit on Weekend Update where he was a mobile news thing.
No way.
And he had a satellite dish on his head and like this like like a selfie stick holding the camera, and he's like, "I'm here live," you know.
That's Nick.
That's Nick.
awesome.
That's exactly Nick.
That's Nick lugging around his like camera and tripod.
Well, that's true. But I'm still going to miss the Megan Kim flashlight that we need for lighting. I need my lighting kit with me.
That was so.
When my mic,
dumb.
you know the story, but our light died and we were filming like those little get to know pieces from main camp that keep popping up on your social media timeline. And my light just broke beforehand and I couldn't fix it in time. I'm like, oops, I didn't really look at the equipment until we were going. So Megan's like jokingly, do you want me to use my camera flashlight? And I looked at her and I go, yes. And she was like, here we go.
I stood awkwardly over the new players, like literally standing on a chair above them, pointing awkwardly in their eyes.
Whatever
and I was like,
works.
I'm sorry about this. Like,
You know what? There's no better way to break the ice
You're
than
right.
a little
You're right.
spotlight time. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we'll this is probably more for me and Megan, but you've probably got one too. Favorite Nick moment?
Oh no, like
here-
moment. Okay,
I would
you
say
go.
for me, Nick, when you were on, didn't you get to the semifinals of the Homer Call of the Week on Bad Radio?
Yes.
Because Nick lost his mind, literally lost his mind in Amarillo. Was there a line brawl? What was it?
No, they ran
Giles?
Kaspersky. It was the goal. I think Kaspersky was the goal.
Santoro?
Yes, Nicholas Santoro.
And Nick, the call, I mean, I don't have it queued up here. I'm not quite that good, but if you've been around for a while, you've heard it. Nick,
He's still ashamed.
He should be ashamed, and Robert Morris should be ashamed. And I sent that in to my buddy Dan McDowell over at the Ticket, and he laughed. He's like, "Oh, this is great," and it got through several rounds of voting, and they were like, "What'd they call you, Brahma overexcited announcer guy?"
But Walt debuted on it too because that was one of the favorite parts. Wow.
Yeah, he has one word in it, and it's the best. Just at the very end, awkward silence. Wow.
That was the time. Well, you got to do what you got to do sometimes to get out in the media and get the Brahms a little pop. If I can help, I'll help.
It was great. What do you got, Megan?
I think like call wise, it was really. I think he handled like the Robbie Cup like championship really well. So I actually have to go back and listen to it because I didn't catch the last couple minutes of the broadcast.
Well, that's right.
I hustled down to the bench, so I like went Insta Live, I think, or something like that.
Well, yeah, because you looked at me and we were close, and I'm like,
go! Nick like
go!
points and he like is like go, but like mouthing it because he's live. So I'm like, oh, you're right, because we had talked about it, but like you forget, like you're not thinking about
Right.
it. Like I never go down like during the game or anything. It's always after the game you go or whatever. So I wasn't thinking about it at all. And Nick's like grabbing my shoulder. He's like pointing at the clock frantically, and I'm like, oh right, we said I was gonna do this. So I'm hustling down in that rink in Duluth. Like you had to go around the entire rink. There was no way right down. So I'm like doing a sprint. Like it was directly
To the
opposite.
lobby,
Literally through
under the
lobby,
tunnel.
under the tunnel, like blowing past like people like, you can't come here. And I'm like, I have a badge. So anyway, like that was fine. But like Nick shoved me out. So I didn't get to listen to like the final couple minutes. So I had to go back and like listen later that day. And I think he did a really good job of like kind of savoring the moment, right? Like you
Could
called
be your
it.
only one.
Yeah,
I know.
you
Very well
called
could.
it.
I know.
You called it, and then like you kind of let the moment happen, And I think sometimes like people tend to talk over it, and you just don't want that quite yet. You know, you just want.
You let the drama unfold in front of you.
Yeah, for sure. And that was really cool for me. And then just as a person, like, Nick is the best human to work with. I don't know. Is Portland listening? Portland, like, he is the best. Like, I came on and, like, honestly, I, like, fucking knew nothing. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. So I knew a little Photoshop. I, like, had a background in, like, graphics and things like that, but I had never, like, worked really in a sports environment. I had worked in, like, an entertainment environment, but not sports. So I was, like, really kind of, like, learning on the fly. And Nick has been so good, like, kind of, like, not even, like, never making you feel like you don't know something. Just kind of like, hey, like, want me to show you how to do this? Kind of very, very, like, casual, very, like, I don't even know how to explain how good this whole experience has been. And I think, like, my favorite, like, non-call moment was when I, like, missed my plane to Duluth for the Robbie, and I like, missed my plane. I'm texting Nick and Rebecca. They both made it. I did not. And they're, like, sitting. It's a Southwest flight, so you choose your seats, and I get, like, this snap, and it's Nick, Rebecca, and an empty seat, and Nick, like, has his pillow, like, his, like, neck pillow, and he, like, had labeled it not Megan. So for the rest of the trip, they, like, called the pillow not Megan and, like, sent me snaps of it until I got there. And I think it's just been such a fun working environment. I think we both, like, learned things from each other. I know we've, like, swapped skills and stuff. And even now, Nick's, like, giving me a crash course on, like, video stuff. He's like, okay, like, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah.
You've got one day to learn it.
No, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, basically that's it. And it's just been such a privilege. I wouldn't be where I am, like, without him. And anywhere, like, the next step in whatever I do, like, I owe so much of it to him. So I just wanted to thank Nick for that. I'm about to cry, so I'm going to stop.
All right, Nick, what's your favorite moment? I mean, probably.
Oh, I love you guys. You guys are great. Quick, so I can go with your favorite personal moments in the group. For sure, are any 3 calls with Chad. Absolute legendary. I think our first one ever. I will never forget that call. I will simply leave it at that. With Mego, I think the biggest one with her and I was probably just overall the game night scrambling that we do, like, nightly and try to look like we have our stuff together, but really don't.
We don't.
And some of the best were probably in Amarillo. I think Amarillo were some good ones, especially at the end of the game when we're leaving Amarillo. And I'll leave it at that one. You know what the story was. Sorry, I didn't want to get too much into that. But for, God, favorite moment, I mean, I think the fans, they just because of how much people connect with me over it, the call that Sean Giles scoring the overtime winner where that dust off the dancing shoes came from, everybody hit me up on that one. So that was just kind of a cool moment that, like, the one before. The York one, the actual first one when that one just came out. Because as a broadcaster, like, I don't really, you're still trying to find your niche. You want to find what people like, and that call just stuck in so many people's heads. So that was, like, a cool moment from just, like, people enjoying it. And, like, even though I was like, you're trying to figure out what's good. That was cool. I think one of the funnier things, too, that I always say is the Brahmas put a ring on it before Amanda did. So that part was great. We won the Robbie Cup before, so I'm forever with this Brahmas team first. Before I got married in July after that season. And, God, what else? I mean, there's so many memories. Like, obviously, like, I'm sorry, this whole podcast, I feel like, is dedicated to me. I love everything about it, from literally day 1 to day 1,270. I made that one up, but it's probably somewhere around there.
Probably more than that.
Probably was a little more.
Because it's like,
yeah, it's
like
true.
4 years.
That's true. It's 4 full years.
Well, it's a long. It's like you did 4 years of college and then you put 4 years of Brahmas.
I know. But it's good. I mean, I think that's the whole part of it. I just want to say a big thank you to the fans. In terms of the broadcast side, we have Dustin Kopening as our current interim broadcaster, by the way, who you have heard on calls before, whether you like it or not. If you listen to the Texas Brahmas, you heard him a heck of a lot.
He's done color with you.
He's done color with me numerous times. He actually did it this past playoffs in the opening series. And he's also filled in for me when I've either A, been sick, B, been gone, or just there's been some weird conflict of all the broadcasters in the South call me Nick Wedding Marek because I've had a ton of weddings, and I will get so much flack from them. So shout out to Alex, Colin, Cody, and Chet for those. They're like, geez, Marek, your wedding season never ends. I'm like, I know. I'm not like lying. There's like a million weddings.
So popular. I got so many friends.
He does have a lot of weddings. Like he's like,
I know.
Yeah, like
Everybody
have a
got
wedding.
wifed up, you know?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
okay.
Between the two of you, like weddings galore.
Weddings galore for both me and Amanda. So that's why. But no, you'll be in great hands. The production crew's back. Obviously, Megan's back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're going to lose anything on social and keeping up to date in the website and all that jazz. And I just hope everybody continues to reach out and keep supporting Brahmas hockey. I know whenever I'm not working a game, my butt's logging into Hockey TV and I'm checking out the games, and I'm going to be texting Megan about, hey, give me the update. What's going on?
It'll be just like when he's broadcasting, I'm like shoving notes to him.
Yes.
Like I'll write notes
Yes.
and shove them to him. It'll be like that, but like over text.
Those are probably good memories. I should have put that one up too as a good
I
as a
just
good memory
remembered that
together.
too.
Those
I
are
was
really
like,
good.
oh, like those are really fun.
While I'm broadcasting games and I can't talk, Megan will write notes to me about the action, like good play there, or like just something silly, or like here's what's going on in the lobby.
Or I'll be like, wow, that was brutal.
Like, that was a rough PK that time.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to respond during either a commercial break or a quick media timeout or something. So we're constantly like writing notes back and forth, which is fun. So multitasking, you know?
Yeah, you got to.
And I do want to say too, like I know like we've talked about like the fans, and obviously we'll miss you like staff wise, but like I also know that like the coaches and players are really gonna miss you. Like there are so many guys like who have been like, dude, like Marek was like the best broadcaster we've ever had. I'm like right now like talking to Feeney actually, and I like told him about it, and he was like, oh dude, like that's so sick. And he was like, but that kind of sucks for us because like Marek is literally the best broadcaster I've ever had. And like I know like that goes for a lot of guys who've come through here, and it's been 4 teams, right?
Yeah, it's been a ton.
And like this year's team will kind of miss out on that, so like I feel a little bad, but like Nick said, we'll be in good hands. I know he'll be missed, but I did want to say that the coaches and players like will definitely miss him as well.
Well, when Chad said the work environment of being so chill, that's what makes it fun, because you get to have all those personal connections with the players. And how many times are the 3 of us down in the locker room over a little, even if it's like we're talking with Dan over some jersey thing with the equipment manager and Mark and Aiden and whoever, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? And you just start like, you know, you want to get that relationship with them and make sure like they all know we're here, and hey, we're trying to help you guys too. Like, here's what's going on. Can you help with this video? Can I get an interview later after practice? Whatever it is, that personal interaction is something that's really cool. And one of the reasons why Portland was so interesting too, at least it sticks in junior, and there's something special, obviously, with the Brahmas. Clearly, we'll stop on about.
Well, you're going to go
junior hockey.
You're going to go from promoting guys to D1, announcing their D1s to. In the
Hopefully
WHL,
pro.
you'll have more draft picks.
Yes.
You will have more draft picks. Although the Brahmas have done pretty well.
Well, we've done pretty well,
Yeah.
but
Especially for the Nolan stuff, yeah.
but for Portland, I mean, that's like probably 6-10 guys on each year.
That would get the overages that get signed.
Yeah.
Well, I was even looking just recently. There was you can't quote me on the number, but I think it was at least 6 that I remember in top of my head of guys who either were drafted, signed with a team because they were previously drafted, or were like an age out player and they were like, oh, the Winnipeg Jets signed you. Oh, the New York Islanders signed you. So you get all those. Actually, like Wichita Thunder's got a guy. I just saw a press release that it wasn't current because I think he played for a Canadian thing, but I saw a Winterhawks jersey, and I'm like, oh, that's right, because he played there 2 years ago. So I'm starting to like familiarize myself with some of those guys. But you're right. Obviously, it's ECHL, AHL, and NHL level is the biggest jump outside of Canada.
And now you're going to get some true hockey weather on the road. We'll see. In your division, you're going to be going to.
Well, everywhere basically.
Oh yeah,
They do one big.
You play
Canadian swing.
every team at least once. So I play all
There's one
21
big
teams.
road trip.
The Portland Winterhawks play all 21 teams.
Western Hockey League teams.
Yes,
So you're up to Saskatoon.
correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have one trip.
You
That's
think you'll go to
10-dayer.
Yellowknife, Northwest
Oh
Territories?
man, if I go to Yellowknife, I'm recruiting up there.
You're going to get revenge on that moose that got
I
Walt.
totally am. I totally am.
Inside joke.
Yeah.
It's good.
But go-
I'm sending that back to Dan. I'm texting Dan and saying I recruited some guys up in Yellowknife. Here we go.
Yeah, that's going to be that'll be an interesting. You get to see a lot of North America. That's
I know.
For sure.
I know. I haven't really explored Canada too much too, so going up there is gonna be really interesting. I mean, obviously the U.S. division, by the way, there is mainly it's just the team in Portland, and then all the rest are in Washington. So it'll be big around the state of Washington, but obviously Canada being the biggest one.
I predict Nick will eventually be the voice of the Seattle NHL team.
That would be sick.
I mean, it puts you like kind of in a good spot there.
Absolutely does.
Yeah, it does.
Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely. The Seattle.
Even if you start with like radio broadcast.
Heck, I won't. I don't have to be a voice. I'll push some mops around. It's fine. What toilet needs to be cleaned? I got you. Like, I'm there.
Well, Nick, we'll miss you. We'll miss you. You'll be around. We'll see you. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't make a visit down to Texas at some point.
Totally agree.
Walt has been here like 5 or 6 times.
I know. Well, Megan and I were talking about this earlier because it's tough with their schedule because their only off weekend is Christmas week.
Yeah.
But their season ends a little short in March because then playoffs roll. So if it's not during the year, obviously it's summer for sure. We'll come back and hopefully the Brahmas will still be rolling and we'll check some games there. But that's for sure. Hope I thanked everybody too. The amount of love I've gotten from the Brahmas community over the past 4 years is more than I could have ever imagined, and I will forever be a Brahma family member, and I hopefully everybody enjoyed putting up with me and had some fun times with all of us, and we'll continue to do that in the next coming years.
And next week, you'll be back with episode 61.
Yeah, we will.
We'll switch gears. I'll take the lead reins.
It's the pass of the mic baton.
I'll put you in the back seat of the van, and
only if it's a minivan.
Absolutely,
you're a minivan.
We'll
bring her back.
We'll do it. We've got a lot of information to get out to fans, but there's this one is all about Nick. So we'll wait next week. We'll hit you with the info, all the deets.
Hard hitting.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Until then,